government, imagine if the imagine in that same household, and let's say that instead of having two parents that love all the kids, making sure everybody eats, let's say instead of that, let's say the parents are dead. Somebody kills the parents, and then the oldest child is the government. He's the parent. He's the older brother, but he's also the mama and the daddy, and he's making all the rules. Well, then you're going to have, as Alice says, tyranny. That's what you're going to have. And so you're going to have, and let's say he's a greedy bastard, who doesn't care about anybody but himself. Then he's going to literally say, "Oh, we're doing good. We're eating good over here. I had 8 cheeseburgers today." And he's not going to even stop to say, to talk about his starving sibling that he's, keeping in the closet. So ultimately, this is American society. This is the direction that it's going. Trump is just the latest in that trajectory toward tyranny. This has been going on since the 1970s. This is a 50-year process. Trump is just a blatant culmination of many decades of that tyranny, of that sort of disproportion, of that lack of balance. He's like, what Trump reminds me of? You ever hear a prostitute, who is complaining about being judged for being a prostitute, and the prostitute says, "Come on, all these women out here, they selling it too. They just selling it in a different way, right?" Well, the prostitute kind of has a point, right? Really, like if I was to ask you all, who's more attractive, a rich man or a broke man? Most of y'all gonna say a rich man, right? If I said, do you think that a rich guy, a guy with $100 million, has an easier time getting sex than a guy with that works at Burger King? Everybody in this room would agree with me, and those of you who don't agree, you out here lying. Just stop lying, stop lying. Okay, so she has a point. But what Trump is like the prostitute who just says, "Look, you've been trading sex for money for a long time. I'm just making it clear. I'm creating clarity in the transaction so that nobody has to live under any illusion." But at the same time, it is different, right? It is different. There's still a difference between, being attracted to the rich guy versus walking up to the rich guy and saying, "Hey, you give me some money, I'll give you some cookies," right? You know what I'm talking about because the kids are watching. So the point of the matter is to say that this imbalance is what's created the economic problems that you're about to see now. So right now, what's happened is that artificial intelligence, which is clearly something that's incredibly powerful, that's something that should be, deeply regulated, is just hitting the world like a firestorm. And you have an administration that is not in the business of regulating how artificial intelligence gets rolled out. In fact, they're so committed to not regulating things that they want to pass a law saying that states cannot regulate AI for 10 years. They want to pass a federal law saying that it's illegal for any state to regulate how people use AI, the internet, all this stuff. Because in their argument is that this is going to slow progress and we need to have this stuff out here. We need to deploy it fast so we can beat China, right? And you could debate that, right? But what one of the consequences of that lack of regulation, of the idea of the fat older brother running the entire family, is that you have this jobless growth that is occurring. And let's go back to that. So the job of the Federal Reserve, for the most part, the Fed has what they call a dual mandate, and the dual mandate is full employment and low inflation, but also they're measured heavily by gross domestic product. So basically, what the Fed will look at is they'll look at unemployment rates, they'll look at GDP. If GDP is negative, they'll say the economy's bad, we're in a recession. That's how they define recessions, by GDP growth. And then also they go look at inflation. Our price is too high. And when one of those prices that they look at is the price of labor. The price of labor.